Go.
What is happening, everybody? Welcome to awesomeo.com. We are previewing the AFC East. Ben Rasa is here to join me. He is one of our many fantasy football experts over at awesomeo.com. We're going to be breaking down every single team in this division, talking about fantasy football sleepers, wide receivers, running backs, quarterbacks, you name it. I'm Nolan Kelly. We've been running down the two of us, all 32 teams, and we have, 8 teams left to go, Brent? We are getting close to the season.
So close. Yeah, we're getting through it. Obviously, it's preseason is imminent at this point, so it's good to have a leg up. Obviously, the team previews have really helped, and now we're here to break it all down.
Let's get started. How about the Buffalo Bills? So we have a new receiving core for the Buffalo Bills. We have a new quarterback coach. Ken Dorsey comes over from Carolina to tutor Josh Allen, the two-time Heisman finalist who was a former Miami Hurricane, did coach Cam Newton during his MVP season. So there's a possibility that he might have a positive effect on Josh Allen. We have Cole Beasley coming over from the Dallas Cowboys, John Brown coming over from the Baltimore Ravens. Every single terrible running back in the entire world is on this roster. What are you doing with Josh Allen this year, Ben?
Well, we starting off with a bang because I'm a big Josh Allen guy. Obviously, loved him at Wyoming. Last year was really interesting because we saw him, putting up some monster numbers, running for his life. I think they try to rein that in, but at the same time, I do think that Dorsey will help and he'll become a little more efficient. So, 2 QB league, I don't mind it. But the guy I really want to talk about is actually one of the wide receivers, and it's Smokey Brown, who comes over from the Ravens. Obviously, Lamar Jackson really stifled that production. We know Allen has a huge arm. I think that he sets up really well to actually have a big year.
Yeah, I think you are right. He's my favorite play. I'm getting him a lot in best balls right now. He's getting he's a fairly low ADP, and you can get him for in the very late rounds, and he has the potential to be, I think, a low end wide receiver too, if everything breaks right for him. So I'm definitely on the same page as you. I was really big on Robert Foster. He led the NFL last year in targeted air yards. Unfortunately, we got news out of camp recently that he is going to be running with the second team for the time being. So that's a little bit scary. I'm not going to be drafting him as much. He's slipping in best balls, though I do think he's a nice weekly NFL DFS target for DraftKings and FanDuel. So I'm with you on John Brown. I really like Foster if he ends up running with the first team. Let's move on to running backs. We have TJ Yeldon, Frank Gore, LaShawn McCoy, and Devin Singletary all in the mix for touches. Recently, Devin Singletary has been going down the depth chart, and LaShawn McCoy is moving up. What are you doing with this backfield?
Probably a stay away because you honestly have to add in Josh Allen. We saw him take a ton of carries last year, not mostly by necessity, honestly, and that just really stifles the production. I think that's a situation, to monitor as we get closer to the year. Maybe something emerges for DFS, but when we're talking season-long best ball, I don't think I'm gonna reach and try to grab one of these guys.
I am right there with you. I have a little bit of Devin Singletary, but that was before this news came out. So I think he's your best bet if you want a high upside pick in the late rounds, but he is not worth his current ADP. Let's move on to tight end, where we have the worst tight end group in the entire NFL, probably. Any interest in Dawson Knox or Tyler Kroft?
I don't think so. Tyler Kroft's just a name that I do think has some talent, but for me, wait and see all the way.
All right, let's move on. Next up, Miami Dolphins. We have a new coaching staff in Miami. Adam Gase has been replaced by Patriots linebackers coach Brian Flores, who was the de facto defensive coordinator last season for the Patriots. We have Josh Rosen and Ryan Fitzpatrick battling it out for the starting quarterback job. We have Devontae Parker, Buzz, and OTAs. We have a possible running back timeshare. What is your favorite play on the Dolphins this year, Ben?
Oh boy, yeah, this could be one of the worst teams in the league, just across the board. It's interesting, and I've certainly seen that maybe the running back does become a timeshare, but I think they are going to be forced to lean on Drake. He's very explosive, obviously can be a pass catcher, and just with the game script that sets up, more often than not, they're going to be trailing, regardless of who's at the quarterback. Obviously, that's a situation we have to monitor. But I think that your best bet is honestly to take a stab with Drake and hope that he starts to carve out kind of a workhorse load.
Yeah, I agree with that. Although I did get Kalen Balaj a lot in earlier best balls when he was going far too late, and now he's moving up as the timeshare news is announced. And I think if you're drafting at this point, the draft position for him is just a little bit too high compared to what his ceiling is. Any interest in any of these wide receivers? Albert Wilson, Kenny Stills, Devontae Parker. All three of them have legitimate deep sleeper upside. My favorite's Albert Wilson. He was amazing in his short stint last year with 360 yards and 4 TDs. Showed signs of a breakout season before a season-ending injury. Who do you like him?
It's tough. Obviously, when we don't know who the quarterback is, you're sort of flying blind. But, you mentioned when we're talking best ball and things like that, if you're going for ceiling, I think I lean to Parker. It's kind of just an athleticism thing. He's been banged up here and there. But he's got all the talent in the world. So if someone like Rosen can come in, maybe it's a better situation than he saw in Arizona. Maybe they form a connection and someone like Parker can kind of get the most out of his skill set.
I like it. Moving on, tight end Mike Gesicki, who I always pronounce Gesicki. It's Gesicki, right?
I don't know if it matters, honestly. This is not on my radar.
The way he's playing this preseason, it might not even matter. He was a great deep sleeper early on in best balls. He was a popular tight end too, and a late round flyer if you're in larger leagues. But he is kind of in a three-way tie in the depth chart right now, and is falling in best ball drafts as well. He has some really high P-Spark scores. He was one of the tops in his class coming out of college. Disappointing first year, but we always get the second year bump. Are you going to have any of Mike Gesicki?
Obviously, a lot of this determines if a situation opens up really late or you get him on the waiver wire or something like that. Maybe I look there, but more often than not, I think this is such an anemic offense. I'm not really looking to make a big reach on a team that just doesn't seem to have much going for it.
I 100% agree. Let's move on to the New England Patriots. We have N'Keal Harry drafted first rookie first round pick in Patriots in the Belichick era. No Patriots rookie has exceeded 600 yards receiving, but you never know. This might be the exception to the rule. We have hobbled Demaryius Thomas joining the team. We have Matt Lacoste possibly as a top tight end until Benji Watson comes back. And we have Josh Gordon, who has applied for reinstatement in the NFL. What are you doing with the Patriots this year?
Obviously they just find a way to get it done. They've lost Gronk, but I'm sure they'll be fine. I think that Julian Edelman, who's obviously a known commodity, is great value. Obviously in a PPR format, he's going to rack up the catches underneath. And then you mentioned Harry. He's got an incredible skill set. Even at a camp now, there's a lot of reports that he's doing some very, very exciting things for them. Can really stretch the field. Running backs are going to be tough, but honestly, for me, I'm going to probably keep it simple. Target one of those receivers. Edelman certainly being the safest.
Injured thumb's not scaring you off at all. I guess it's a little too early for that.
It's something obviously to monitor. We've seen him banged up. Obviously, he was suspended, but I think that may be a situation where he actually opens up more value because people are a little concerned, and I most likely think long term he'll be just fine.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you. I think there's always a bit of a threat with Edelman that he's going to miss time. He tends to miss more than the average wide receiver. I've been targeting Josh Gordon pretty heavily in late rounds in best ball, and that's looking pretty good right now. But his ADP is moving up pretty heavily. If you've got your draft in the next little bit and you want to impress your buddies, I'd say reach for Josh Gordon a little bit early because I think there's a very good chance he gets reinstated, and I don't think he's going to be suspended. That's just guesswork, but it could be a very, very nice deep sleeper with league-winning upside there. Let's move on to running back really quickly. We have 4 viable backs in this field. Sony Michel probably has the highest upside. James White has the best floor. And then you have Rex Burkhead and Damian Harris, who are intriguing options if either of those other two get injured. Any Michel or White?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, Sony Michel, the problem with him, and this is where it's important to know your scoring, not a huge asset in the passing game. They have White. Obviously, Harris is an interesting rookie out of Alabama, but Sony Michel, we saw him. When the Patriots want to run the ball, he can control the clock, and the volume won't be a problem. I just in a PPR setting, it's you need those touchdowns to make up for the lack of receptions.
I totally agree. Do we need to talk about Benji Watson or Matt Lacoste?
I don't think we're really bullying tight end. These first 3 teams not giving us much to work with.
Terrible. Well, we got a bit of a better tight end situation. Let's move on to your team, the future Super Bowl winning New York Jets, and their Pro Bowl quarterback, Sam Darnold. Lots of interesting moving parts from a fantasy perspective. We have Sam Darnold in his second season. We have Le'Veon Bell coming over. We have Adam Gase, who runs the slowest offense in the entire NFL. It will be interesting to see if that keeps up. We have Jameson Crowder possibly patrolling the slot, and we have Chris Herndon on a 4-game suspension, who was my favorite sleeper tight end this year, but has been falling as a result. Favorite plays, and what are you doing with the Le'Veon Bell situation?
Yeah, so you and me both. Chris Herndon is a guy that I was really high on. And again, if you can get him, value's going to open up. If you can survive for a while without him, you stash him on your bench, maybe you can get some dividends down the road. But that really hurt. Le'Veon Bell is, again, it's not like DFS where you're just evaluating the play on its own merit. There's an opportunity cost. So obviously, I think Bell's going to have plenty of work. But I do think people are reaching and just automatically assuming his role is going to be what we saw in Pittsburgh. And I don't know if that's the case. So if he falls a bit, obviously he's a premier back in the league. But at the same time, there's still some questions that have to be answered.
How about the receivers? We got Robbie Anderson, who is the sexy mid to late round pick everyone is on right now. I'm a little bit bearish on him. I think apparently his road tree is expanding according to what Evan Silva's been tweeting lately. So there's definitely some upside there. He's going a little bit early for my taste. As well, we have some slot work available with Jermaine Kearse moving on. Jameson Crowder is expected to take that role. Do you have any interest in these guys, or Quincy Enunwa, or anyone else?
Crowder's a guy that I do like. Obviously, like everyone, needs to stay healthy, get to the regular season good to go. But he's someone, in Washington didn't have the best situation, but when he was on the field, he can be productive. Obviously, that underneath threat meshes well with Robbie Anderson, who, the ceiling is there for him. But I do worry about a week-to-week floor with a guy like him. He's kind of just that home run threat.
Nice. All right. Well, that wraps up the AFC East.
Yeah,
a lot right now.
It all meshes. When we're doing a team a day, it can get like that. But it's a division. Just one final thought from me. Obviously, the Patriots have dominated so much, but I do think there's some value. These teams are going to start inching closer to New England, and I'm interested to kind of see what comes out of that.
42-year-old Tom Brady. The wheels are going to fall off sometime, right?
I've been saying that for 10 years. So sick.
All right, let's move on. We got the NFC North coming up. Feel free to check out all of our content at awesemo.com. We have Alex Awesemo Baker's season-long projections coming out this week. We have our first week NFL DFS projections free. We have a promo code EARLYBIRD for our NFL packages, which gives you $50 off. Make sure you go and check that stuff out because that $50 promo is not going to last for too long. Thanks for watching, everyone.